Hello, hello, how are y'all doing? No, I gotta hear you a little bit louder. Come on, you're in Oakland. Yes, it's Sunday and a beautiful day out here in Oakland. So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna go a little bit of a time travel. So close your eyes. Let's take a trip down back memory lane, 30 years ago to be exact, maybe a little less. Open up your eyes. Hi, this is me back then. This shy girl that was 6 years old had just gotten off the flight off from Bolivia and put her first steps right here in the US. Little did the shy girl know that the statistics were already stacked against her. That she wasn't supposed to be in these types of rooms. That she wasn't even supposed to be in the tech rooms, let alone question tech ethics. Why, you may ask? Because when you come from an immigrant background, a low income, a single parent home, product of one of the lower performing education systems out in San Fernando Valley in LA, you're not supposed to make it here, according to those statistics. I wasn't supposed to be part of the American dream. Yet this little girl's curiosity and love for math, but really a real dislike for writing, if I have to be real, is what really led her to get an opportunity to explore her career as an engineer. I went on to earn a full ride at electrical engineering degree from USC, which is at that time ranked one of the top 10 schools in the world. Here I got the opportunity to think about what could I build, what rooms could I be in, and then it provided and opened doors to rooms I never thought I could be in, but then doors and rooms that I didn't want to be part of, I later realized. So let's fast forward to this little girl that grew up into this professional tech woman. It's me again. Hello, how are you all? At 21, I was introduced to the world of the aerospace industry, where I was learning how to build amazing things, technology that would change the world, like really change the world beyond the selfies that we're talking about, really be able to create opportunities and build things that were enormous, that were actually challenging gravity. And so here I was able to learn about the aerospace industry and its implications. I was able to work on some things that look like this, from jet fighters to radars to sensors. I was so excited. Here I thought I was building things that were just simply challenging science. And I also get to build things like this, things that were ballistic missiles shooting out of submarines. I didn't realize what I was doing and what I was building. What I realized is that I had the opportunity to go into a lot of rooms, but I didn't want to be in these rooms anymore. I didn't want to be in war rooms. And so here I thought I had made it. I had made the American dream. I had gone on to get my education, earning twice the salary that my mom was making, working 2 jobs. I was able to be in places that I never thought I could be. And in fact, I had even billboards across the 405 and the 101 in LA. And if you're from LA, how many of you have been here in LA? You know where I'm talking about? So I was like, yes, I made it. I made the American dream. But it actually took a really cold winter out in Boston, specifically Cambridge, Massachusetts, where I had the time and the space to really think about what is it that I was helping build? How was I using my energy, my talent, my time? And it actually took this time to find out what was I building towards, what was I contributing. And so I discovered a lot of things about this aerospace industry and the defense industry. So let me share a little bit of why it's important for us to learn about this today more than ever. Number one, it's super expensive. Our current budget of the US is about 3% that goes directly towards defense. It's about 600 billion plus. And maybe 3% doesn't sound like that's much, but when you compare how we use that 3% compared to the rest of the world, it's quite alarming. The United States spends more on defense than the next 7 countries combined. Remember that F-35 that I showed earlier, that really cool jet fighter? How much do you think that it will cost over its lifetime span? I'll tell you the answer. About $1.5 trillion. Imagine what we can do with that much money. Imagine how many student school loans we can forgive. How many of you would like that? Everybody, right? Yes, including me. According to Experian, the student loan debt is at an all-time high at 1.4. So if we actually took one project out, imagine we could actually pay everybody's loan and then some. Number 2, let's not sugarcoat it. This industry is building large-scale weapons. When I see images of families getting killed in Syria, I cannot help but feel a heavy burden in my heart. Not just because I thought I contributed to this, but also because I had loved ones that are from Syria. I grew up in the culture. I grew up with the food and the music. And with all this technology, we tend to forget who is it that we're impacting. We're talking about humans' lives here. We're talking about people, just like you and I. And let me not downplay the complexities that the defense industry has and the strategies, because we wouldn't be able to be here ourselves. And so whether we want it or not, we partake in all of these. But when I see these images, I remember and I'm humbled the why it's important to speak up and why we have to keep having these types of discussions. Thirdly, these types of weapons are no longer just physical, they're digital. I don't know if you've been watching the TV and reading some of the headlines or getting your podcasts or wherever you get your news. But these headlines are really scary. When we start to think about that, the everyday tools that we use to connect with families and with friends are actually being weaponized to dismantle country by country and actually questioning our democracy. So what stands in the way of creating more discussion and actually talking about this and creating some kind of change and calling to action all these wrong things? I'll tell you one reason why, is representation. The fact that we don't have people in these rooms questioning, standing up, is one of the reasons. The fact that we currently, specifically in the tech sector, where the majority of the technology is being created by a homogeneous group of people, mostly white men, that are impacting the way we interact every day, that has intergenerational impact, is simply wrong. The biggest tech ethical issue that we're facing in the tech economy right now is the lack of representation. Yes. And I had to be part of the problem to also hopefully be part of the solution. Which brings me here with you all to Oakland. Yes. We're 10 years after my first thought of what the heck am I doing with my time? What am I building? To then being able to go to 2-3 different careers, lived in 6 different cities that I called home, been away from my family, all to find purpose. And I found the purpose here in this city. This city and the voices, the history of Oakland has really connected with me in a way that no other city has. Because when you think about the change that one person's voice, the collective power of a group of people that care to act against something that they feel is unfair, unjust, is super powerful. And so now I use my time and energy with even more urgency to be able to create opportunities of how we can use this technology for the greater good. How we can create opportunities to help our communities of color specifically be able to rise up. Yet, as I do this work, I learned that the tech rooms, and many of them tend to be bro rooms, is actually harder to dismantle than some of the weapons I actually saw earlier, that I showed you earlier. The current statistics show that despite $16 billion going into initiatives to help increase more representation, the needle really hasn't moved much the past 10 years. And so what can we do about it? What happens to those people, that the very few that are that were in my shoes, that start questioning, that start asking, but then are told to shut up or aren't being heard? This is why it matters. This is why we have to start having this dialogue and start asking bigger questions and really asking ourselves, what are we doing with our time? So what if we dare to dream that we can actually create new systems, that we are the innovators, that we are the creators, the designers, the investors, the owners? Well, let me tell you, we can, and we already are. Specifically, we take a look at the Latinx population, which is how I identify. The 52 plus million population in the US is actually growing and thriving. We are one of the youngest. Our voter power is increasing. We are building companies at a faster rate. We're earning degrees at a faster rate than other groups. And our spending power is over $1 trillion. But yet, this narrative doesn't get told. The power of this community doesn't get told. And it's not by coincidence. There are people who don't want this narrative to be told. They want us to stay in our boxes because they want to keep the systemic systems that oppress us still there. They don't want us to think bigger and act bigger and do bigger. They're actually going into the rooms we've created and separating families. And that's just simply wrong. And we got to start with us and being able to build the next opportunity when we have the collective power. And what the part that's exciting, and I hope that you enjoy this, is that I don't want the tech innovation economy to be coming from folks like this. It's actually going to come from people like her. People who are asking the tough questions. People who are challenging the status quo. Because it's time. And it's going to come from people like this. People right here in Oakland, and some of you may see your face here. It's going to come from us. It's going to come from doing and taking action. Let me share a little bit of a story of two young women that really remind me of my own personal journey. Meet Stephanie. She's out in Central Valley, specifically Salinas, California. She's already started an artificial intelligence club in her middle school to help more girls like her learn about technology and actually start to use this type of technology for good. She's right here interviewing Bill Gates at the launching of a coalition in artificial intelligence focused on building a more ethical sector. She's still in high school. What were we doing in high school, right? I want to be in rooms that she's in. Meet Frances. Frances is the co-lead for the largest Latinx and tech nonprofit in the US. She's also building technology that's user-friendly. Not only is she building the user technology inside house, but she's also talking about it. And she's going to panels, she's blogging, she's creating podcasts to share the story and bring awareness of why this is important. She's questioning. She's building the rooms I want to be part of, and I've also been part of. But sometimes our own self-doubt, that imposter syndrome, we've all had it, right? I'm sitting at this wonderful red circle of TED. I have it. But let's not minimize ourselves. Because we have to remember that our voice, one voice matters and it's important. And sometimes when we go into all these different rooms or where sometimes we're the only ones, and we see these other people, we think that they have so much power, intelligence, and influence. But in reality, I think Michelle Obama captured it best, right? They're not all bad. we have just the same value to add to those rooms. And so with that question, how can we really mobilize ourselves to get past some of the mindsets, identify how to create new systems, and create different opportunities for ourselves? And then for me, this was the American dream I was in search of. Here I am with these kids that were the same age as me when I first came to the US. I don't want them to get lost in rooms looking for purpose. I want to help them find their purpose now. I want to be able to help with you all start questioning and start calling to action. What is it that we're doing with our time? We have the responsibility to help the next generation not only dare to dream bigger, but actually do. And we need to do this together. So I ask you to join me to do and dream bigger. So thank you.